This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Sean Preston.
Welcome to another episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. Today we have a lovely neighbor on with us, and that is Julia Hayman of On the Ball Orthotics. What's going on, girl?
Hi. Well, thanks for having me here.
Super happy to have you on the show. Very bright where you're at. A lot of white going on over there.
Yeah, I guess it must be the lighting or it's my camera. I'm not sure.
Walls are not yellow or nothing. They're white, though, just so I have my own sanity.
Yeah, there I see white.
Awesome stuff. Well, I always love having new guests on the show. We have a fair amount of guests that just through, networking, other things that we do in our business community, it passed them by. So we've had a small interaction before. Of course, coming on the show, we get to go a lot deeper than that. You and I have not had that opportunity yet. So I don't know anything about you or your business, and I love to let my curiosity lead the conversation. So for our listeners, why don't we dive right into it? And why don't you tell us a little bit about your business?
It's called On the Ball Orthotics. And I'm a podorthist. So I'm a custom foot orthotic specialist, and I deal with footwear as well. I've also got foot care nurses and a massage therapist as well, but we basically deal with mostly feet and health and wellness space kind of thing.
I've had the opportunity to speak with a few podorthists in recent memory, so I kind of understand it a little bit. But let's dive into this. Okay, you play with feet. There might be a little bit of a fetish going on the department. No, I'm just kidding. But the feet from my knowledge level, have everything to do about a lot of pain that can occur throughout the course of the body. It's what connects us to Mother Earth. And if things aren't aligned properly, that also causes issues long term if they're not fixed properly. And everybody has different levels of how they walk. So taking a look at, are you on your instep, your outstep? What's the proper way based off of your body type, your weight, all of this stuff goes into it. I'm not the expert, however you are. That's just kind of as much as I know about it. But why don't we kind of unpack this for our listeners? Let's showcase a little bit of your knowledge level on some of this stuff and tell us a little bit about kind of how this all works.
Well, first of all, I'm impressed you actually know what a podorthist is, and you've met some. That is one of the struggles that podorthists have, is a lot of people don't know who we are. We are a relatively small group, but basically, we specialize in how the feet work and how they move and how it affects the rest of the body. So, and then it's the specialization in the custom footwear, or custom foot orthotics and footwear. So we don't deal with skin issues. So we don't trim toenails or anything like that. Basically, if your feet are rolling in or out, then that can put a lot of strain on your feet. It can also go up to your knees, hips, and lower back as well. So that's why we say a lower limb specialist, because we look at how the feet affects everything up to about the lower back.
Typically, when you have somebody come into your clinic, what's like a average or a typical symptom that people say? Maybe I'm trying to think of our listeners, right? Like, how would you know if you've got a type of pain? The first thing you might think of is like, I need to go see the doctor, or I need to go, do you have to go through those laneways first? Or what are some things that maybe we could educate people on to say, no. If this is the case, you should go see a podorthist.
So, well, foot pain is just, that's a good sign to go see a podorthist, but we see mostly chronic pain. So let's say you roll your ankle. That may not be something an orthotic can deal with, but it's more chronic pain. So plantar fasciitis is very common. Metatarsalgia is a common diagnosis. Achilles tendonitis, things like that. But a lot of people don't know what their pain is, or they Google it and it just says plantar fasciitis, because anytime you Google heel or arch pain, it'll tell you it's plantar fasciitis. But any type of foot pain, and a lot of times the doctors don't know exactly what's going on, just because they have to know everything. We're specialized, we see it every day. So you don't necessarily need to see the doctor first But in a lot of cases, insurance companies need a prescription to get it covered. So going to the doctor just allows you to get the prescription first, or you see a podorthist and you see what's going on and say, yeah, it looks like orthotics can help. And then you get the prescription afterwards. And that's only if you really need it for insurance purposes.
Very cool. That's exactly what we wanted. So out there, everybody's got a bit of a journey and kind of how they get into doing what they're doing. I like to kind of joke around because, podorthis has the thing with the feet. There are people that have feet fetish and stuff like that. It's kind of like the same thing as being a dentist. If you're not overly cool with kind of diving into someone's mouth every day, we're talking about human beings here, right? So you have, somebody lovely like yourself, for those who are on video, really nice teeth, probably, you take good care of your teeth. So, I wouldn't be as grotesqued out as maybe, some other stories I've heard from hygienists that we've spoken to and stuff like that, but the feet kind of something similar. So how did you get into doing what you're doing today? What was your journey like, and where does the passion from feet come from?
Well, when I was younger, I had a lot of foot pain, foot, knees, hips, lower back. I was very active, so did a lot of sports. And when you're in pain and you're trying to kind of compete at higher levels in sport, it just, it's frustrating. So I was constantly thinking about why is this in pain? What is the structure? So I'd feel something and I think, well, what am I touching? Is it a bone or a tendon, ligament? And I was just very fascinated by my pain and what it was and why it was in pain. So originally I wanted to find something that was whole body, because I'd go to this specialist and that specialist and they all say something different. I thought, well, I need somebody that looks at everything and knows exactly what's going on. But I quickly realized that's not really the case, because everybody specializes for a reason. So now the way I get around it is I just learn about all the other professions, so then I can recognize, oh, this, you may have something else going on. I don't know exactly what it is, but it looks like it's a muscle thing. So go talk to a physiotherapist, for example.
Right.
So I kind of got into podorthics thinking, oh, maybe I'll just do this for a few years and then I'll go into something that's a little bit more broad. But it was way more rewarding than I expected it to be. And there's more to it. I just thought it was, you just watch somebody walk and you give them an arch support. But there's a lot more features and things you can do to affect the way that they're walking.
Could you elaborate on the rewarding component? What makes it so rewarding?
So it's really just, when people come in and have pain, they can't walk, it's hard to ignore your feet. So it's nice to see when people put something on and think and say, oh, wow, my heel pain is reduced. I haven't had that in years, or I've been able to walk or get exercise. You get a lot of people who they've gained weight and they want to exercise, but they're in pain. So they're now able to walk and they've been able to get in their weight loss journey. And that's really nice to see that you can help people get back to their daily activities and help them thrive in life as well.
Is there any follow-up to a patient? Let's say, they come in, you diagnose them, you find the solution, they get the right arch support, new shoes, new booties going on, and then they head out into the world, they do their thing. Is that it? Is that kind of as long as they don't come back, or is there a follow-up procedure where it's hey, come and see me in a little bit, let's just kind of double check and make sure you're kind of good to go?
So what I usually say is after 2 to 3 weeks, they should be comfortable. You shouldn't even feel them anymore. And then within a month, you should notice at least some pain improvement. And if not, I always say come back. A lot of times I ask people, shall we pre-book a follow-up? Some people just prefer to call. But then after a year, I say come back, make sure everything's okay. And that's when I usually get people coming in and saying, oh, maybe the pain is returned in a few areas or something else is going on, and we can make little tweaks. So then it's more like a yearly checkups to make sure everything is going okay. And then anything before that is your pain going away? Then we're good. Does it feel comfortable? Then we're good. But other than that, then they should come in and get everything checked out again.
So would it be safe to say that you're a curious learner?
Oh yeah. Love learning a lot of different things, and that's why, well, I like connecting with other health professionals because I always learn things because there are new studies coming out and new techniques. So and I'm not going to learn everything about everybody's, I'm not going to keep up to date with everything. So I like to learn other specialties and special things that they do.
Very cool. Are there any myths or misconceptions when it comes to podorthos?
Well, one thing that a lot of them say is that we don't all have foot fetishes, which it doesn't bother me when people say that because I don't know, it's just a joke.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if a lot of people know that we actually manufacture I think we're the only profession that's trained in the manufacturing of the orthotics. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we actually learning how to make them. So I actually make everything on site as well.
That's a pretty cool component to the business, where not only are you taking a look at whatever design they need. However, I'm sure there's some math that goes into this angles, but then actually making the shoes. What's that process like anyway? Like I've never been in the back room, got my hands on it, so I'm just curious to see like how does that work?
So, well, there's a lot of different ways to do it because there's the digital and your handmade. I do all handmade. So, to start the process, you have to cast the foot. So, I typically use a foam box. So I press the foot into foam. Sometimes I'll use plaster, and that's one of the oldest methods. And you can cover the foot in plaster. It's like a paper mache type of idea. But some people use digital as well. But when I have the handmade, then I pour plaster into it, and that creates the mold. Clean it up, make it look the way I need it to, and then I heat up plastic or whatever material I'm using for the shell, heat it up, and then vacuum form it around the cast. And then from there, I grind it, shape it, and then glue on all the additions that I want on it, and then shape it to the shoe that they have, and then that's your orthotic.
What's the timeline? How long does it take to do that from like start to finish?
So when I see somebody, it takes me a week to make it. Some people do 2 or 3 weeks out. A week I would consider it a fast turnover. If I was sitting, or if I could probably get an orthotic done by the end of the 8-hour day if I had nothing else to do. But it's not you're not hands-on for that full 8 hours. It's you pour the plaster and it takes half an hour for it to set.
Right.
And then when you press the plastic, then it's got to cool down. So that's another hour that you're just sitting around essentially. So there's downtime to it. I think hands-on, you might be a couple hours, could be more or less depending on how complicated the orthotic is. Yeah, there's a lot of waiting for things to cool or set or glue to dry kind of thing.
So I know you can go out there and you can get a really cheap shoe on sale for like $70, and you can go out and get a brand new pair of Nikes for $250. What's the price range on a orthotic? Is it similar? Or is there a price range, or is it within the top end of that price range? Or
well, a custom orthotic, because they go inside of your shoe, like they're the insert, and they're like we charge $5.25 per pair because it's all custom made.
Yeah.
And then you can put them in your $50 shoe, which it's not going to give you as much support, but it's been done. And some people find relief with it. It's just a nice or a more supportive shoe will just give you that extra support. So
do you feel like do you guys also sell some shoes at the clinic as well, or just the orthotics?
Yeah, so we do shoes as well. It's nice when somebody has that kind of shoe, just because I know what the shoe is going to do and how it reacts, and I know it's a good shoe. There's lots of great shoes out there, but yeah, we have a few brands out that are more orthopedic, you would consider, which orthopedic are different. There's a lot of different features that consider shoes orthopedic, but one of them is different width selections, that just means if you're narrow foot or a wide foot, you can fit into the shoe. You just have to get a narrower shoe or a wider fit shoe. And then there's other features like it could be a rocker sole, which takes pressure off the ball of the foot, or needs an adjustable closure, and that just helps so it's not too tight or too loose on your foot. So little things like that could make them orthopedic shoes.
Yeah, worth every penny to, especially if you're in pain. So my significant other, she owns a flower shop. She's standing all day, and then some days she's alone in the shop. She'll come home and then she's dead. That she needs to be on the couch, so she can't stand anymore. Or she'll have to sit down, that kind of thing. So would that be something that you would say, yeah, Sean, get her in here, we need to take a look?
Yeah, that is a very common description of a person that I'll see. Like a lot of people in trades or in manufacturing plants or teachers, nurses. So basically on your feet all day. A lot of times it's hard surfaces, and it puts a lot of stress and strain on the body. And then orthotics help to. So let's say you're working out. You're working your bicep out. What happens is when you work it out, you have little tears essentially, and then the body will heal itself. So it's the same idea with the feet. Like every day you're on your feet and you're getting little micro tears everywhere. You just have to make sure that your body is healing faster than it's breaking down. And if your feet are, let's say, not in the proper position, what they would say, that's just putting more stress. So then it's not giving your body a chance to heal. So your orthotics prevent more of those tears, so the body will heal faster, essentially.
What about for business shoes and stuff like that? I feel like sometimes I'd be walking around all day on them. The orthotics fit those as well?
They do. There's different styles. There's full length, half length. There's even something called the Cobra style, which fits into like high heel shoes, which I don't do that very often, but I used to work down in Markham, and in Markham, they were more concerned about the style of shoe that they were wearing. So I did more of that Cobra style. But here I don't do that very often. It seems like in Barrie, people are more like, oh, I just want my feet to be comfortable. I don't care what the shoes look like, which makes my job easier. But yeah, they can fit into different shoes. There's the half length devices go on top of the insert, so you don't have to take anything out, and it doesn't fill the shoe up too much.
I feel like you never become a business owner if you're not passionate about what you do. And so that goes without being said. And obviously when we are super passionate about it, work doesn't really feel like work. Like to normal people who have a boss, or they go to work for a corporation, whatever the case is, it's different. And so knowing that we have all our guests on the show are business owners, I am as well, you tend to work a lot, and it doesn't necessarily feel like it's a lot till you take a nice little sample size and you're like, oh, okay, I definitely work a lot, but then there's that harmony, right? And how we recharge our batteries, and so that we can come back and still pour that passion into, making something amazing or offering a really good service like yours. So when you're not working on your business or in your business, what do you like to do for fun?
I like to be active. Let's say that's kind of generic, but I do a lot of volleyball. Play a lot of beach volleyball and court volleyball all through the year. Anything like hiking.
Beach volleyball. We have to go play beach. 100%.
Oh yeah.
First person I've had. We've launched 250 podcasts. First person who says I like beach volleyball. Woo!
Wow, and I think there's a great little volleyball community too. So, yeah, I love volleyball. It's probably one of my favorite pastimes. But yeah, hiking. Like to go out hiking, and yeah, anything that's outdoors. Oh, family cottage, water skiing, and winter skiing, things like that. Anything outdoors and active is kind of what I like to do.
Nice. Yeah, I share a lot of those same passions. I turned into a green thumb in the pandemic, so I've got like 5 garden boxes. I'm growing like every vegetable known to man out there. I'm even growing cauliflower. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm a little jealous because I do want to garden. I just we don't have the space. Well, we haven't really figured out a good space for it yet.
I should send you some pictures of my backyard. You'd be surprised what I could do with that little tiny space.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can
We
make
want to do raised garden beds, just haven't got around to getting them yet.
That's my next
Oh yeah.
project, is to get the garden beds raised. I bought the raised ones from Costco, the plastic ones.
Oh
So I
yeah.
got one full one with just like assorted like leaf lettuce, spinach, romaine, spring mix, the whole bed, and then I have another one with just kale.
Oh yeah.
And they work awesome, man. The lettuce is incredible.
Oh yeah. I used to do tomatoes for a while. But well, I just had a baby, so this year is kind of a write-off.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, so no vegetables this year, unfortunately.
Did you play rap at all when you were younger, or just high school stuff?
I did. I played it. I can't remember how old I was. I think it might have. I'm thinking of grades when I was in grade 10 or 11. But then I had to make a decision because I was doing both track and field and volleyball. Oh yeah, that was grade 10. I did both rep for both. And that's when I really hurt myself. So going back to my foot issues. So I had to make a decision, and I'm 5'6", so I figured I'm going to do track and field. So I ran track and field for Western University, and then when that was done, it kind of drains you a little bit because it's all track and field for 4 years very seriously.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I miss volleyball because I liked them both the same amount. I just had to make a decision. And so I went back to volleyball. And it's a better team sport that you can play as an adult. It's more fun. Track and field, it's not really, it's kind of on your own.
I
So,
hear you.
so volleyball is now, but it was track and field later or previously.
I did 1 year rep, played for the elites. I'm
Oh yeah.
6'1", and I was the shortest guy on the team, so they put me as libero. I
A
was in the backcourt,
6'1" libero.
just having guys just 6'8", 5 foot or 6'8", 6'5", these like monster lanky guys at mid just smashing it over guys. I'm thinking, I'm standing back and they're like hammering it right in front of me. And I took a couple to the face. Like, these guys can hit the ball. It was like super scary. I played keeper in soccer in high school.
Oh.
Not scary. Couple scary moments, but really not that scary. That I would say was scary, having those things flying at you.
Well, guys, volleyball is a different ball game than women's. So men's volleyball is very much like a strength sport. Where women's there's more rallies to it. So you play co-ed, and I know I can read women hitting pretty well, but when men are up there, I'm just like, well, I got to step up because they're going to hit it straight down, but you got to prepare it's going to hit you in the head.
Yeah. That's why I like beach, especially twos, even fours.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more kind of, like tipping and like mind games and thinking more about that than really it is about just kind of teeing up, a ball and smashing it as hard as you can. So big fan of co-ed, big fan of beach as well.
Yeah, I would say I enjoy beach. I never really tried beach until about 4 years ago, but I think I like it better. And maybe it's the same idea with you, but I'm a little bit quicker so my skills are better for beach. And I feel like with the libero it might be something similar.
Yeah, and I love diving. I've made some crazy plays where like that ball's dead, but somehow it's alive. It's so cool.
Those are the best ones.
Love it. So we walk this path of life, right? And we go through ups and downs. Like, we go through life challenges. Life throws things at us. Sometimes we experience tragedies, like all kinds of stuff. And, as human beings, we kind of have to move forward. We don't really have another choice. I've always been amazed at people with their ability to be able to overcome, a lot of life challenges. Even you take a look at, if you listen to Jeff's episode, it's pinned on our YouTube channel, and his story, what happened when he was super young, what he had to go through, and then the person he is now. You look at that and go like, how did you do that? You're an incredible human being. Like, wow. And then, others have it a little bit harder, some a little bit easier, but nonetheless, we have to overcome these. We have to hang on to hope, try to look at the glass half full. Mindset's like a big thing with this. So have you ever had a life challenge, or can describe a life challenge that you, or a hardship that you rose above, maybe made you better, maybe made you stronger, maybe took some silver linings from it?
Well, luckily I haven't had any big struggles, I would say, in my life, which, well, I guess maybe for good or for bad, but I guess having just had my son for beginning, well, I guess about 5 months ago, and that it was always just the planning behind it, owning a business and not really knowing what's going to happen, because I'm a planner and I can't plan everything with that. So it was really just trying to figure out, okay, well, planning all different situations about, and then trying to come back as quickly as possible, because when you're self-employed, can't really take as much time off, and I have expenses to pay in the business, so I can't really take a lot of time off there. So it was just, well, I gotta figure it out, make it work. And now afterwards, it just helps me prioritize things, because now it's not like, oh, I'm gonna stay until 9:00 at night and finish all this work, and then I haven't seen my son really all day. So it's making sure I'm getting everything, prioritizing things so that I can make that time and go home, and maybe taking a bit of time off of work, when before I would say, oh, I have to stay here because these are my hours. So it's really just figuring out how to prioritize my time, which is kind of a good upside to it. So
navigating through all that stuff. A lot of people still don't consider, unless it's being said, which it just was, the difficulties that, female business owners have to go through when you're running the ship and having babies, and supposed to be able to have X amount off, but life doesn't kind of work out that way sometimes. And, you got to kind of, figure it out, navigate those laneways. But it reminds me of a book, The One Thing. That's all about prioritizing. Just pick that one thing that you need to get done. Start with that first. Mm-hmm. And it seems like after that, things flow a little bit more easier from that perspective.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
What's one thing that you wish our listeners knew about your business?
I guess something I already said, I make everything myself. So, and what I really enjoy doing is, I like modifying shoes. So people who have a leg length difference, I love adding lifts to their shoe. So I cut the sole and you add a lift and put the sole back on. And I like doing things like that. But basically I do the whole process. I take a look at people and assess them, design the orthotic, make it, dispense it, and do follow-ups with it. So I control the whole process of the orthotic.
Very cool. You're like a mechanic putting a lift kit in a truck.
Yeah.
Doing it for shoes.
Yeah. Yeah. I always say it's like arts and crafts in the back.
So awesome. Very cool. A great conversation. Great human being. That was a lot of fun. Thoroughly enjoyed that conversation. I'm sure others did as well. And for those who did want to reach out, maybe know a little bit more about you, what would be one of the best ways that they can go ahead and do that?
There's email, juliet@ontheballorthotics.ca, but you can also follow us on social media, on Instagram, on the Ball Orthotics, or Facebook, anything like that, or go to our website, ontheballorthotics.ca.
Phenomenal stuff. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show, telling your story. Super to have you on the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Midhurst. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpmidhurst.com. That's gnpmidhurst.com, or call 705-413-3775.